Hello, good morning, good afternoon, friends. Um, Look, excited to get back on the practice field and go out there and compete and get ready to play against a good football team. Don't want to sleep on these guys. I know they have some struggles and things like that, but this is still a very good football team with weapons across the board, offensively, defensively, and also special teams. So, like I said, excited. I think the guys, they came in today. We changed the page. We're moving forward. We understand what we have to do to win this game, and just like every week, we have those targets out there. We just have to go out there and execute and hit those targets, and that's what we fully anticipate. I know a lot of you guys are wondering about Dave Andrews, so it's already out there at this point. It's going to require surgery, and he will probably go on IR and be done for the season. Fire away.
How big a blow is that to you guys?
It's tough. One thing about Dave, the first word I would say is just toughness. He's a guy who he's been a captain here. He has great leadership ability. He's tough. He's able to communicate across the front, and it's definitely a huge loss. With that being said, we got to, next man up. And I know that sounds very cliche, but that's the mentality. Fully expect him to still be around the building, and, maybe he'll be a future coach at some point in time, but we'll see.
What's your confidence level in Nick, and what have you seen from him?
Good. I thought Nick did a decent job stepping in there this past game, and now that he'll get more reps during practice, you expect him to continue to get better every single day. So that's our expectation.
Jerod, you mentioned earlier this week that you and Elliot were going to meet, talk about some of the linemen and stuff, people that were out there, and talk about that. Any updates on that about possibly bringing somebody in?
Not at this current time. And we talked about the question here was about the veteran offensive linemen that were out there, and so we're not on that at this current time.
How important is the position of center in this offense as far as being kind of the one in charge?
It's very important. I always say, you want to see the same picture, and it starts with the center. And it starts with the quarterback and the center and the quarterback, I would say. So it's definitely important as far as being on the same page, IDing the mic points and all those stuff. So, with that being said, Nick, he can do it. He's proved that he can do it, and hopefully he continues to get better.
Understanding how important David is to the offense, how does his injury affect the plan for Drake?
I would say those are independent of each other. You always want to have a veteran center in there, but with that said, they don't tie in together.
How do you not let a woe is me attitude take hold when you see the injuries starting to affect key guys?
For us, it's about mental toughness. It's about mental agility, and we won't be rigid in our thought, and we're going to try to put the best team out there. I'm not really a big woe is me or anything like that. We knew going into the season we would take our lumps, and even after the first game when we beat Cincinnati, we understood that this is unsustainable as far as winning that way. With that being said, there have been things that we've done well, especially after the first two games. Those were competitive games. The third one wasn't so competitive, and this past one, we still had an opportunity as bad as we played. And I think it still comes down to execution.
Jerod, looking at your season now, 4 games through, are you not playing Drake because you're concerned he's going to get hurt?
I'm not really thinking about that. Look, Jacoby's our starter. He's our starting quarterback this week, and I think Jacoby has showed a lot of toughness out there. Going back, even looking at the film, there are times where an average guy would not be able to get back up, and I think he's done a good job with that.
Jerod, have you at all considered giving Antonio Gibson a start this weekend, given Ramondre's fumbling issues and how Gibson?
That's definitely under consideration, and I've had multiple conversations with Ramondre. But look, we can't preach that ball security is job security and still have him out there the majority of the time. So I think it sends a stronger message to the players that there are certain things that we just can't do to win, especially with the team that we have today.
How do you make a point on that with the edge stuff? Are you at the same point?
Yeah.
Keon just on the first couple third downs there, but he doesn't always play there.
That's right. He doesn't. Look, one thing I'll say about Keon, and once again, if it was something that was happening on a week-to-week basis, like the fumbling with Ramondre, that's a little bit different with Keon. And I would say, as far as the edge is concerned, it's not just one person. It's been different people every single week. Look, if you were to take a snapshot, and I think it's important to remember that we are still early in the season, but Keon has been one of our most impactful players, and we look forward to his continued growth. But again, it comes down to execution. It comes down to discipline. It comes down to doing what's right for the team and not for the individual. And I would say, you know, when you go back and look at some of those plays, you know, you think, look, we're not good on third down. Why? It's not because we're not covering guys. It's because we're giving the quarterback a chance to get outside the pocket. And I think we just need to play better as a team and not as individuals for us to have a good chance at winning games.
Does that surprise you, Jerod, the lack of execution maybe on the defensive side of the ball, where you're coming from with what you've seen so far, especially in the last couple of games as a team?
Yeah, as a team. And look, I take 100% accountability for that. Like, it's my job to get these guys on the roster ready to go out there and play at a high level. And the last couple of weeks, we just have not done that. So I'll take that one.
Jerod, you described your first win in Cincinnati.
So rude. No, play. Go ahead.
As unsustainable. I don't think we've heard you describe it that way before. Can you explain?
Well, that's
why?
why I'm just giving you a snapshot on what, you know, we told the team. I mean, in this league, you have to score points to go out there and win. You have to win the time of possession. You have to, you know, those are things that you have to do. And there aren't too many games you're going to win if you score under, let's just say, 21 points. For you know.
Jerod.
There you go. Then no one says anything. Go ahead.
You just said that you guys have to play more as a team. One of your players this week, Devon Godchild, said that he thought players were being selfish on defense, how they were approaching the game plan. Do you concur with that, and how do you feel about a player voicing that?
No, I'm okay with the player voicing that because that's what I said in the squad meeting. And so everything I say to the players, I'm not saying it as a secret. We just have to play better together. And especially defensively, like, well, I would say across the board, it takes 11 people to make a big play. I know one person gets all the praise and things like that, but it takes everyone being on the same page. And, you know, I agree with DG in regards to, you know, some of those plays are selfish plays. That's exactly what it is.
On offense, Calvin.
Not at this current time.
There's a report out there that Devontae Adams would prefer to be traded. Do you anticipate pursuing him in that trade?
Yeah, you know, look, the scouting department is on top of all of that stuff. I have not had conversations with Elliott in those regards.
George, the Kendrick Bourne will practice today. Any updates on Salem, Taki, and RJ Matthew?
All three of them will practice today.
On the offensive side, it looked like last game, like Polk and Douglas were a little upset that they weren't getting the ball at certain points.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on the offense?
One thing I would say is, as a team, like, we don't want to show or voice our frustrations on the field like that, as visible to everyone. I will say, look, it's good to have guys that want to go out there and make plays, guys that want to go out there and compete. And it's a natural human instinct to be frustrated when things aren't going your way. Look, things aren't going our way as a team right now. And am I frustrated? You know, absolutely. But I understand that we have a lot of work to do. It's you know, the first quarter of the season. Now we're going into the second quarter of the season, and hopefully we're getting better.
As somebody who's trying to establish a program here, you've lost Bentley and now Andrews. How challenging does it make it for you to lose guys that could be sort of guys that carry your message to the rest of the locker room?
Yeah, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, being a captain this year is like the Madden curse at this point. You know, we've lost a lot as far as our captains are concerned. You know, with that being said, I think, you know, guys just have to step up. Guys have to step up, and I know that the players understand that everyone has to take their game to the next level. I know the coaches understand that we have to demand more of our players to go out there and play winning football.
Does it concern you at all, though, if things are hard, and things are hard right now for you guys, that not having those players could make it tough for the locker room to remain together?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the locker room, especially at this current time. And I would also say the players understand it's still early in the season. And so we'll see what it looks like going forward.
After Bentley went down with Duggar, any plans similar to that?
Well, look, we just had that conversation here over the last couple of days, and I haven't put much thought into that as of now.
We haven't had a chance to talk to Ben McAdoo in a while. I'm just wondering if you can offer any insight into what his role looks like throughout the week and how much he contributes to the offensive game.
Yeah, he does a lot for us. You know, he does a lot on the offensive side. You know, he's in all those meetings, the game plan meetings, but he also does other things. I don't want to get too specific, but, you know, some of those are, let's call it, you know, not. It's kind of like assistant head coach's coaching role. I bounce a lot of ideas off him. He's been in the league for a long time. He's coached every position on the offense, and he brings tremendous value every single week.
Jerod, with Sione, Deontay and Kendrick, would it be unrealistic to expect those guys to play this week?
I wouldn't say it's unrealistic. I think we have to sit here and see how the next couple of days go. And look, even those guys are at different points as far as, I'm not going to say, well, 100%, 80% and all that stuff, but I would say those guys are at different points and they'll practice, depending on how their body feels. We go through our individual drills and we'll take it from there.
Rob, what's your message to the team? Go ahead.
How important is it to get a guy like Kendrick Bourne back both on the field and off the field? 'Cause he's a vocal guy.
No, that's right. It's very important. I would say he brings great energy everywhere he goes. So going back to, missing some of those guys or leaders I know he wasn't voted captain, but he did have a significant amount of votes from his peers. And I thought that said a lot for a guy that didn't practice. Just his energy and his vibe is contagious, and can't wait till he's out there making plays.
I think from the outside looking in, it kind of looks like everything's kind of collapsing, on you guys. What's your message to the team this week as you get ready for the Dolphins?
Yeah, we always talk about the process, and look, you can look around the league and look at what we would call established coaches at this current time, but there was a time in their career early on where they probably were getting killed too. I think about Dan Campbell, I think about Shanahan, I think about all those guys that had to weather the storm, and that's what we'll do. And it starts with me. I'll weather the storm. You can write whatever you want. That's your job, and I understand it. I used to work in media. I understand that you guys have a job to do, and I ignore the noise, and my responsibility is to put a winning team together, not only for now but also in the future.
You mentioned after the game the other day, when you were asked about the pressure that Jacoby faced, schematically you said we have to do a better job of getting the ball out of our hands.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the offensive line is to protect better too. When you say schematically, I think of Alex Van Pelt. How would you assess the job that he's done through 4 games?
I think there's no problem. I mean, look, there are things you always want to look back on game plan wise and say we should have done it this way. With that being said, I think we all have to take some accountability. The quarterback, the O-line, the coaches, all of us have to take a piece of that accountability to be on the same page and put a productive offense out there. All right, guys, have a good one.
Thank you.